Hello, all you Elvis fans. This is Krista Joy, founder of TCBRadioNetwork.com.
And I'm your co-host of TCB Radio Network and Elvis tribute artist, Peter Alden. Welcome to the TCB Radio Network podcast. Get ready for some Elvis content and news you can use, where it's all Elvis, all the time.
We've got your interviews with authors, Elvis fan club presidents, artists, musicians, and of course, close personal friends of Elvis Presley, the people who knew him, the man himself.
Thank you for tuning in.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy.
It's time for the TCB Radio Network podcast.
We have a fantastic interview lined up for you tonight. She's a former girlfriend of Elvis, an actress, a host, stunt woman, model, beauty and healthcare expert, a public speaker, so much more. Tonight we have on the line for you Mindi Miller. Mindi, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I am thrilled to be here. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're delighted to have you. And I know Peter was going to go ahead and kick it off with the first question here while I go ahead and get the slideshow ready. So,
yes, Mindi. Got a chance to talk a little bit earlier, but I know a lot of people are curious. Just what did you actually think of Elvis before you actually met him? Did you know him from movies or concerts?
Well, I think like most kids growing up in the 50s, I had seen his movies. My mom had taken me to his film, and because I grew up for a large part of the first part of my life, the first few years after I was born. We lived in Hawaii, which, of course, as people know, was one of his favorite places to vacation. And so we had that in common. And when we came back to the mainland, I went and saw Blue Hawaii, Paradise Hawaiian Style, films that involved the Hawaii. And my mom always wanted me to see those because she wanted me to be able to remember Hawaii. And so then she got me his album, and she got me a 45. We had 45 records at the time. So she got me those, and I love those songs. But I was not a quintessential Elvis fan. I didn't have his pictures on the wall and all that. I was really growing up in Surf City, kind of. I was living in the San Fernando Valley. We loved the beach area. We would play hooky and go to the beach. So I was really more about the Beach Boys, Janet Dean, all these people that were doing all the surf songs. So I liked Elvis Presley a lot, but I was not the fan. I am a fan. I'm a true fan today because after having really known him and really seeing what he's about and his music and learning so much about him, I've become a fan, but I wasn't the little teenage girl fan. I liked people like Tommy Sands, Troy Donahue. I liked the blonde, blue-eyed surfer kind of guys. Isn't that crazy? But I did. I liked the opposite of myself. Because here I had dark hair, dark eyes, and I liked the opposite. I liked these very Aryan-looking guys. Swedish-looking and Scandinavian-looking guys. I mean, I still do, but that was my preference in those days, was the surfer boys.
Okay, so then obviously the next question is, since Elvis was completely the opposite of what you were looking at, how did you actually meet Elvis?
Well, I had a premonition, which I've said before. I had a premonition that I would meet him. We were driving by each other in Hollywood, and he was driving I'm trying to think which Black Hawk it was. He ended up having 4. 3 of them were black, 1 of them was white. And I don't remember which one it was, which model, but it was one of his Black Hawks he had here in L.A., and he was crossing over Sunset Boulevard, and I was crossing over, and we passed each other, and I looked, and I said, oh my God, that's Elvis Presley. And by this time, I probably was 21 maybe. And I looked at my girlfriend, I said, that's Elvis Presley. I said, I got the weirdest premonition. I said, it hit me in the head. This was a guy, you have to remember, this was a man that had the most even if you weren't looking to where he was standing. You just, it was like lightning. And that's what hit me. It's like lightning in my head. And I said to my girlfriend, someday, not only am I going to meet this guy, I'm going to know him. And of course, she thought I was nuts. And then about 2.5, 3 years later, maybe, I met him. And I was living in Europe. I'd been living in Italy. I was doing some acting and modeling there. I'd been living there for about a year or so at least. And I came home to close at my apartment, and I went out to a private club one night, and this fellow that I knew that had a kind of a talent agency came up to me and he said, hey, he said, I'd like to invite you to a party. And I said, well, it's okay. I said, I don't really want to go. He said, no, you got to go. This is really something special. So he called me every night, and I'd say about 3 or 4 days, literally, before I was supposed to go back to Europe. I said, what is so special about this party? And he said, well, it's going to be at Elvis Presley's house. And right away I thought, oh, wait a minute. I remember I had a little vision there. And I thought, well, why didn't you just go, Mindy? It's not going to hurt. You're packing up. You're leaving the country anyway. Now, mind you, nobody told me he was going to be there. Nobody told me I was supposed to be a date. Nobody told me anything. They just said, come to this party. So I got dressed up and I went to the house, 144 Monteville. It's funny because I just took a drive by there the day before yesterday. And I do that from time to time for old time's sake. It's funny. And I drove up to the house, up to this long, beautiful driveway, and this big, huge white house. And there was nobody there. There were no cars. There was nothing. And I thought, my God, do I have the right address? And one of the guys answered the door and said, oh, hi, you must be Mindy. And I thought, well, how does he know I'm Mindy? There are a lot of people coming to a party. Well, I walked in. There was nobody there. There was no party. I was the party.
Oh, no.
You were the party.
You were the party.
I was the party. So I walked into this room, the TV's on, and all the Memphis Mafia guys are sitting around the room. But I mean, they're lined up. They're not just sitting there like on the couch. They are lined up in chairs sitting against the wall. To my left and my right. And they sat me down on the couch, and they started talking to me, but it was more of an interview. So they were interviewing me about who was I, where was I born, what was my family like, did I have a religion, was I spiritual, what was my favorite color, did I have brothers and sisters, how did I grow up, what kind of things do you like, what are your interests? Now, I'm sitting there trying to be this beautiful young girl, 24 years old, March 12th, 1975. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm thinking, well, it's weird, but okay. And that's how we first met, and two of the guys walked out of the room, I guess to go tell Elvis, she's cool, she's okay. and as I'm sitting there, probably an hour went by, I'm watching TV, and Farrah Fawcett's on there doing a Well of Balsam commercial, and I'm not even looking anymore, I'm just watching TV, and suddenly to my right is this incredible surge of energy. The same energy I felt a couple of years before. And I turned to my right, nobody had said a word, nobody had walked in the room, and there's Elvis standing in the doorway in his little white tennis cap and his sweats with the stripes on them, usually baby blue with navy blue stripes or black stripes. And he looked at me and he said, hi, honey. Sorry I'm late, but so were you. And it threw me for a loop because his delivery and the way he said it, I thought, this guy is hysterical. And then I broke up in hysterical laughter. He broke up, and then all the guys broke up, and then he sauntered into the room, walked around the coffee table, stuck out his hand to shake my hand, and goes, hi, honey, I'm Elvis. And I thought, hi, I'm Mindi, and that was it. We never stopped talking. That was our introduction.
Wow, that is fantastic. Well, we have so many friends joining us live, so I wanted to take a quick second and say hello to everybody. Sissy is here from the Elvis Find Out What's Happening Then and Now Facebook group. Thanks, Sissy, for being here. Don Wilson is here, Mindy. I know you guys are dear friends.
Yes, I want to say, can he hear me right now?
He can hear you.
I love you, Don, more than life. You're my best buddy forever.
Aww.
And I'm just giving a shout out to him. I adore this man. Nothing I would not do for him and his lady.
Oh, me too. I've talked to him twice, and I say, okay, Don, we're best friends now, just so you know.
That's a better, more real person. This guy is great.
We love Don. We had Don on the show a couple of weeks ago. Jennifer Michelle is here. Dwayne is here. He says, Mindy and I go live while I mow my 2 acres of lawn. Love you, Mindy.
Dwayne knows. Hey, Dwayne, love you.
Colin Paul is here, famous tribute artist.
Hi, Colin. I saw him. Did I tell you, if you have not seen Colin Powell, everybody, you have got to see him. He was in Memphis, and I met him briefly last year. Not long enough, obviously. He and his darling wife, Sarah Lee, and their 2 beautiful children. He is so talented, and he is such a hard worker. And when he sings, it makes me cry, literally cry. And he was fantastic at Elvis Week. He goes every year. So everybody, please watch out for Colin Paul. He is so multi-talented and such a sweet, generous man.
Yes, we totally agree. We got to meet him, too, in Memphis this year. We love Colin. Thank you, Colin, for tuning in. And also, Trina's here from Scotland. Hey, Trina. And so many more, but we got to move on. We're going to continue on with the interview. Mindy, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about your DVD because this is fascinating and this is something people can buy for themselves online. Will you talk about your DVD, what it's about, what it means to you?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Elvis, there was a particular book that was coming out in 1976, and Elvis and I were upstairs in the bedroom at Graceland. And at that time, it was all red, velveteen, and gold, and, the red shag carpet in his room as well. People always ask me, well, what was his bedroom like? And it looked like the rest of the house, which was all red. So we were up there, he was pacing back and forth, and he was upset. And he said, Mindy, please promise me you will never, ever, ever write a book about me. You will never talk about our relationship. You will keep things between a man and a woman private. You will never speak of these things. Don't talk about our relationship. He was so private. So as I say to people, I have kept that promise. I've honored him for 40 long years. And when Jessica Gladys-Singer, darling girl, one of my dearest, closest friends now, she is with the Essential Elvis Group, which is started 20 years ago by Mr. Andrew Hearn. And she found me on Facebook when I first got out. And she said, we'd love to do an article on you for our magazine. And I said, thank you so much. And then they invited me to England to talk. And I thought, people don't know who I am. And I know the biggest thing for Elvis was he wanted people to know who he was on a spiritual level, not just as a performer. And he really wanted people to know why he thought the way he did, why he was a seeker of truth and justice and all that. And this I know for sure. And I thought, there's only one other person talking about this, and that was Larry Geller. Mm-hmm. And who was a darling man. I love him, and I love what he stands for. And so the thing of it is, I said to Andrew, is it possible we could do a DVD? And I said, in that way, people can meet me, they can see me, people that aren't able to be here in England. And this is my first outing ever into the Elvis world publicly. And Andrew Hearn is the one that brought me out. He's the first one that made the Elvis fans aware of me in England. So he was so gracious, and he went ahead and got a crew together and filmed the hour-and-a-half interview and show and questions and answers and singing and everything that we did there for Elvis fans. They can get it if they're out of England or if they're in Europe. They can order that from Andrew Hearn. If they're in America or closer by, America or Canada, they can order for me through PayPal or send a check through my, my P.O. box. But the most important thing is I promised Elvis I would never write about him. But I tell fun stories that I know he wouldn't be okay with. Mm-hmm. We talk about things that I know he would be okay with, all in honoring his legacy and raising his legacy for the kids, grandkids, and people that will follow when my generation, which is very close to passing on, is gone. Because when we're gone, Krista, there's nobody left. When we're gone, we're gone.
Right.
And so a lot of people are writing books, and a lot of people, that's why I wanted to do a DVD to enlighten people to who he was, how he was, and the spiritual side of him, which is what I really enjoy talking about.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. As long as we honor him, as long as we're doing it in a good way to carry on the memory and the legacy, I don't think anybody would mind that, especially 40 years after they've passed on, that people are remembering them in a favorable way and trying to help make sure that others do the same. So I think, I think
his fans are the ones that came to me and said, Mindi, we really would like to hear more, because I didn't realize how hungry the fans are to hear every single thing about this man. I had no idea, because I was shut off from all of this for 40 years. I didn't do anything in the Elvis world. I just shut down and went about my business. So I know that these are things that he would have wanted his fans to know. And I don't talk from me. I talk from Elvis through me. And so what I say is funneling everything that Elvis had told me, the books that we read, how he felt, verses in the Bible, to his fans. And I believe that maybe is the reason that, I was put out there in the last couple of years. And I always say I don't have a fan base. These are Elvis's fans. So whatever I can do to enlighten them and help them understand who he was. And I always say to them, please let's not remember him in the way that he passed away, but in the way that he lived his glorious life. And this is what I always say to people.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yes, somebody was congratulating me recently on the success of the show, and I'm like, it's not me, it's Elvis. I mean, there's just still so much interest in him and not enough content and plenty of people to consume content. So I'm just so grateful for the chance to just kind of give it a little bit of a platform, a little bit that I can. But I want to say hi to Beth is here live. Lindsay Warnock is here. Terry Lee from the UK. Hello. Catherine Holmes, Mindi, wants to know when you're coming back to Worthington, UK.
I would be there today if I had a plane ticket.
We feel the same way. Yeah, absolutely.
I would have been there yesterday. I'm so besotted with England. I cannot tell you. I'm besotted with this country.
Yeah.
Jennifer Jones says, hi, Mindi, and Tamika's agreeing with this.
I love you. I love her. This is my all-go-to girl. I love you, Jen. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, we appreciate you. All right, so a little more about Mindi, and then we'll get back into the Elvis stuff. But I know Mindi has also appeared on Entertainment Tonight as a skin and beauty expert, a beauty consultant on the Ricky Lake Show. She's a board-certified licensed paramedical esthetician and skincare. Mindi, for the ladies and gentlemen too, why not? Can you give us one or two of your best beauty tips as a beauty expert?
Well, there are a lot of secrets, but I'm going to tell you one that people very, very rarely think about. And you can Google this, but I was doing it years ago. One of the things that is one of the best and most inexpensive beauty treatments that you can do for men and women, and you don't need anything else. Let's say you're stranded on an island somewhere, you have nothing, and they always say you can take one thing, and you don't need cash. 2 words, people: baking soda.
Really?
Now, you're going to laugh at me. Wait till I tell you. Baking soda in your bath, baking soda in your shower instead of soap if you run out, or in conjunction with the granules of baking soda are so tiny, and the pores of the skin are very, very tiny unless a person has had acne or they've got pitted skin or something like that. So what I do is I make a size with a little bit of warm water, and very easily, not hard, because you don't ever want to scrub, hard with your neck or your décolleté or your face. Baking soda is the trick. Your skin will be squeaky clean. And what you want to do is take your ring finger and your middle finger on both hands, dab it into the baking soda as you've made a paste with a little bit of warm water, and make circular motion in toward your nose. You never want to wash your face in circular motion away from the nose. And people always do, going toward the hairline. That stretches the skin out. It makes you lose collagen, which is your elastin in your skin and your face. People always email me and ask me, you're 67 and you look like you're 45. What do you do? So I try to tell people about products and all that. But baking soda, you don't use it every day because it will be too harsh. It's great for the guys. And the men actually have sometimes better skin than the ladies do, because ladies are guilty of sleeping in their makeup, which is the worst thing that you can do. But baking soda on your neck, your décolleté, you can use it over your whole body, and it's a bit abrasive. So what it does, it takes off all the dead skin all over your body, the kneecaps, the elbows, your face. Then you can also use it to wash your hair. You can add a little bit of that if you've got an abundance of too much product in your hair, again, men and women, whether it's hairspray or anything that builds up in the hair. That will help get it out, and you'll want to add that to your shampoo with water. Rinse it out. Always rinse with not cold water, because that will break the capillaries. And you don't want to do that in your face, because once they're broken, they can't be mended. That's it. So you want to do cold water always to close the pores of your skin for your face and your body. Whether it's hot or cold, you always want to cool down the body and close the pores, because you're liable to catch a cold. Your internal organs catch a cold. That's how you get sick. So you want to close the pores. So when the pores are closed, all this other stuff, debris, everything does not get in the skin, because your skin is your number one protector of the body. It's the largest organ of your body. Then you can brush your teeth with it. Again, it can be very abrasive to the enamel of your teeth, so don't use it often. But let's say you run out of toothpaste, or you're camping, or whatever, or you forget something. Baking soda, you can wash your hair, wash your face, wash your body, brush your teeth. It is the most incredible beauty product. You can get it at the 99-cent store. So it's not just for opening and putting in your refrigerator and your freezer to take out all, the odors. It's one of the best beauty products that you can have. And I promise you, when you rinse your face after using it, you will see a huge difference in your skin. It will be squeaky clean and shiny. That's the way your skin is supposed to look.
I love it. You heard it right here, you guys. TCB Radio Network on Facebook Live. Beauty tips.
It's one of the cheapest beauty products you can have. And Google the use of baking soda. And there are like 1,000 different uses for baking soda. But I love it as one of my go-to remedies. And I use it on my clients. And they'll get up from the massage table, the facial table, and go, my God, my skin has never shone like this, and I don't tell them what it is. So it's a little secret. And I'll do that after the microdermabrasion, which also helps, of course.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, you guys watching us live, make sure you hit the share button. Let everybody know that you're watching tonight. We're getting some awesome stuff here from the fantastic Mindi Miller, former girlfriend of Elvis. Tamika says she's going to...
Also, I just want to say, Krista, a little bit of mayonnaise under the eyes is very good, because it's very rich in ammonia.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, Tamika Haywood, she says she's going to try it tonight to take off her makeup.
Hey, Tamika, I love you, girl. She's from California.
All right. And Jennifer Jones, she says, Mindi, will you tell them about the CD of Elvis calling out your name in concert 42 years later?
Oh, my God. Thank you, Jennifer, for reminding me. Yeah, you let me know, Krista, when you want me to do that, and I'll write it down so I don't forget it, because it just happened in the last few days, and it's incredible.
Well, tell us the story now. Why not? As long as we're talking about it.
Right? Okay, thank you, Jan. This is why I love her. She's my girl. She's got my back. So what happened is a lot of people, after I came out, they said, well, do you have any more pictures with Elvis? So everybody because, again, it's involved. And I can't always answer all of this on Facebook. It's too long. But the thing of it is one of the reasons Elvis did not take a lot of pictures with a lot of the ladies that he dated is because he dated a lot of ladies.
Let's be honest.
He wanted to keep them separate, people. So the thing of it is that he did not want each girl finding out about the other girl. So he was very careful not to have pictures taken that would get out in the fan magazine and, publicly. And he did not want to hurt anybody's, feelings. So knowing him like I got to know him, and knowing that he was a very private person, I never, ever, ever said to somebody, "Oh, can you get a picture of Elvis?" And it never occurred to me. I never sat there and thought, photo op.
Mm-hmm.
I was too much in the moment. Sure, there were times when we could have had pictures taken together, but the only picture that I ever saw of he and I only saw two years ago. Nana Ames was one. She's the gal, another great friend, that took the color picture of Elvis and I coming off the plane. And I kept wondering in my whole life who took this picture, and then I ended up meeting this lady that took it, who was a gay girl, and she followed Elvis all around, and she was incredible. She's got phenomenal stories. So anyway, all these pictures started coming out. So then I'm contacted by a wonderful photographer named Keith Elverson. I didn't know who Keith Elverson was. I didn't know who any of these people were. So Keith contacted me on Facebook, and he said, "I've got these pictures here. I've had for about 42 or 43 years." He said, "and I have no clue who they are." He said, "You've just come out recently. Could this, by any stretch of the imagination, be you? Because it's not Linda, it's not Sheila, and it wasn't any of the other girls he was dating at that time." And I said, "Oh my God, that's me." He said, "Problem solved." So
Wow.
He said, "Please don't put them on Facebook." He said, "Because I want to put them," and these are some of the ones that I think I sent you to. "I want to put them in my new book, which will be coming out in August at Elvis Week." So I promised him, and I try to be a person of my word always to people and be honest, that I would not share them with anyone. So then I did, and then this week, another friend of mine went with people, Carolyn, with us on the tour this year, coming from England for the Essential Elvis Tour for Elvis Week. And about 3 days ago, I think it was, she PM'd me privately, and she goes, "Mindi," she said, "I'm just hearing this new album. It's a 1975 at the Omni Theatre." She said, "Is this by any chance you? He's mentioning your name in the song Love Me Tender." And I thought, sweet Jesus, don't tell me. So I got all excited because a whole bunch of people had said to me, "Okay, you said that he sang to you privately. He sang to you on the first night that you met him, and subsequently thereafter. But did he ever sing to you on stage or dedicate a song to you or sing to you?" And I said, "Not to my knowledge, not that I can remember." So Carolyn said, "I want you to hear this." So she puts it on Facebook, and she posts it on one of my Facebook pages, and I literally burst into tears. And we started texting back and forth on PM, and I went, "To heck with this." I called her in England, on the Facebook phone, because it's free, thank God. And I called her, and we got into this huge conversation, and I am crying my ass off. She says, "Mindi, don't cry, it's wonderful." So what happens is he's on stage, and it's on the second CD, track 3. Don Wilson found out for me. Thank you, Don. And he's so great. And so she just recorded a little bit of it, and then she opened the CD, and you can see all of this in the video on my page. And she said, "Now, Miss Mindi," she said, "listen carefully." And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. And he goes into, "Love me tender, love me true." And then he gets to the point where, in the beginning, he said something about this little girl did something to me. And then he said something to Charlie, and he goes, not you, Charlie, not you. And then he goes into Love Me Tender, and I thought, oh my God, what did he say? And then some other people came on with bread, and I said, oh, Mindi, what did you do to him before the show? And I thought, sweet God, what did I do? I'm like, did we have a little love affair before the show? I had no idea. 40-some odd years ago. And so the way Elvis said it, it sounded like, oh, a little girl did something to me, and he was all feisty and happy and all this stuff. So then I wrote back, I said, I don't know if we did anything. I said, but very honestly, I said, if he was happy, he was happy. And then I started wondering, that may not be a good thing. Then he started singing Love Me Tender. Nana Ames chimed into the thread, and she said, Mindi, she goes, I was at that show. She said, I remember he walked straight over to you because you were sitting at the side of the stage. And that's where Keith Elverson, during that show, took all these new pictures, sitting at the side of the stage with my little face, watching Elvis give scars away and singing. And apparently he had walked over to me and said, and I love you so. And then he said, hello, Mindi. And
Wow.
Now, you have to remember something. I have not heard this man's voice in over 40 years.
Speaking
So
to you.
to have him sing that particular song and then walk over to me and say that just absolutely floored me. And what's weird, Peter and Krista, is that I have put on many times on my pages where I've shared with his fans times where I've gone into stores, sometimes 2 and 3 a day, and as soon as I walk in, he starts singing Love Me Tender. Nothing else but Love Me Tender. And it's Elvis, not anybody else. It's Elvis singing Love Me Tender. This has been going on for years. Years. And it just makes my skin crawl, and it makes the hairs stand up, because I'm a very big believer in spirituality and the beyond, and its 6, other dimensions and time travel, and I know that it's real. And I know the way that Elvis believed. And he always told me that he would always be in touch with the people that he cared about and loved. And the people that cared about him, that he would visit them and he would time travel. We used to call it astral projection, which is what it's called. And we studied it in the spiritual books. And it's dreaming, basically. And people can read more about that and how he believes with the spiritual books and all that from spiritual bookstores. But knowing that, it all makes sense to me now. And so I played that back and played it back and played it back. And 3 or 4 days later, I still have people coming on going, that is amazing. Because it's as if he is saying hello to you for the first time since I last saw him and since his passing. So for me to hear that on this record, and the thing about it is that it was always out, but because it's been re-digitalized and you can hear him so much better now, this was kind of under his breath.
Wow.
And you didn't really hear it years ago. So now, because of the re-digitalization, you can hear him say, well, that little girl, what she did to me. And that was under his breath. You didn't really hear it, right? And then when he says, oh, you didn't hear it. But you heard it, but you can hear him now say it, and then he goes on with the song. And then after he says it, he makes a noise as if it's a shotgun. He goes, like that, like he shot himself. And the only thing I could think of, knowing him, he probably thought, oh my God, I should never have said that because somebody else will hear it. It'll get back to one of the girls or something. And I thought, maybe he thought he should never have said that. I don't know. I can't second guess him. I can't speak for him. He's not here to defend himself. But I thought after all these years, so all the pictures came out from that concert at the Omni into Keith's new book, and now this came out, and there was Carolyn Malaby just driving in her car, and because there was nobody in the car and the windows were up and she heard it, she said she played it back and could not wait to get a hold of me and go, you won't believe what I heard.
That
Now, is that not incredible?
that's a just absolutely tremendous story, and yeah, apparently that is your song. That's your song, and so that's the song he's using to stay in touch with you.
It is, and there are so many other things that he does to stay in touch with me. You know, like I said, if you want to talk about him, we could go on forever. But that's just a new one, and so it makes perfect sense now. Every time I walk in, I was in another store, a secondhand store, and there was a little globe around Easter time this year, and I was in the secondhand store because I'm a thrifter and I'm an antiquer. I love to go antiquing and thrifting and all that, and I'm walking around this little area of the store, and all of a sudden I hear this kind of music playing, and it's playing ding 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 ding. I thought, oh my God, that's Lovely Tender.
Wow.
So I walk over to where I think the music is coming from, and I don't see a thing. There's no radio, there's nothing. And I go to the gal that's sitting there, and I said, excuse me, I said, is the radio on or something? She says, no, we don't have a radio on. I said, did you just hear what I heard? She said, I didn't hear anything. I said, okay. I walk around the store. I go to this corner. I'm looking for all these things. Finally, I find a little, looks like a 50s kind of globe where you turn it over and it snows, you know, like a snow globe.
Right.
And there are two little bunnies in it, and they're called hip-hop bunnies from the 50s. And somebody put it out there for Christmas, probably for the children. And it was too expensive, I thought, to buy it. And I'm sorry, wait a minute. Do I still have you there?
Yeah, we're still here.
I'm done. I lost you for a second because a call came in and I averted it. So I go to this snow globe. I turn it upside down just to shake it to turn it back up. And lo and behold, it's a music box. I said, oh my God, don't even go there. Don't even tell me. I slowly turn the key and I set it back up and it plays. Now remember, nobody turned it on. Nobody heard it. Nobody was there. I thought, oh my God, if this isn't a sign. Now, this is at Easter time this year. I said, this is incredible. I took a picture of it, and I thought, I got to share it with his fans. They would love this. So I share it with his fans. We get a lot of likes, and everybody goes, you need to go back and buy that globe. It's meant for you, and he's telling you that he wants you to have it. And now, normally, I would think that way. I thought, oh, pshaw, no, that's not true. So what happens is I call the store, like the next day or 2 days later, and I say, do you by any chance, there's a little globe there with two bunnies, do you by any chance still have that? And they go, well, actually, we do. And they said, it's been marked down to half price.
Holy moly.
At that point, I said, I know Elvis wants me to have it.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, it's an hour and a half from where I was. I said, please hold that globe. This is my name and number. Make sure you do not sell it to anyone. I will be there this weekend to buy it. I drove down there. I bought the globe. I brought it home. I still have it. It plays Love Me Tender, nothing else. And then I've got a couple of more music boxes that were given to me as gifts that play Love Me Tender, which nobody knew, you know, that it should be Love Me Tender. It could have been any other song. And now this comes up. And so Jennifer realizes how big this was for me because, honestly, I've asked a lot of people because I know that he would say some girls' names that he was dating during the time he was dating them. But there aren't that many. And I know I'm not the only one. I never professed to be the only one. I was just very lucky to have met him and known him for a period of time and blessed. But I feel even more blessed because it makes me feel in some way that I was a little bit special in that he would, you know, sing that song, walk over to me and say that. He didn't have to. And he didn't have to do that with any of the other girls that he dated either. But he did with some girls. And I just feel so lucky. I just feel so grateful. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Awesome. When I hear that song from now on, I'm going to know that's Mindy's song.
It's amazing these stories, because Krista and I have talked, and when I've done interviews, people have asked me, why do you think Elvis is still so famous? And it quite honestly goes back to what you were saying. And I think it's not even just with the women that he dated, but I think he's still so popular now just because of how he treated people in general.
Well, a lot of people have said, too, and it kind of breaks my heart on Facebook. They'll say things like, well, he couldn't be true blue to anybody. He couldn't be this. He couldn't be that. And I say to them, look, he loved women. He had an incredible bond with his mother. And in psychology, you'll know this. A man will treat a woman or his wife or a girlfriend or any lady with great respect if he's had a wonderful relationship with his mother. So much of it depends on the first 5 to 7 years of how you grew up. Now, he grew up dirt poor, and I mean dirt poor, where he would go to school with no shoes on. He didn't even have shoes. And, which is why he ended up being such a clothes horse and loving clothes, because he didn't have any, and he didn't have any really, really nice stuff for a long time. But he had so much love. And, because of that, he always treated every lady with respect and love. And he loved every girl that he was with. And, he told a lot of people that he loved them. It didn't mean he was in love with them, but he loved them. And he had a place in his heart for everyone, man and woman, child alike. The man was absolute love. And I often say that his middle name, instead of Aaron, should have been his mother's middle name, which was Love, Gladys Love Presley.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have named him Elvis Love Presley, because it fit him, it suited him so well.
Wow, that's tremendous.
Absolutely. Oh, this is such good stuff.
Now, Mindy, I understand that you have a story about driving with Elvis through a heavy rainstorm. Can you, for those of us that are not familiar with that story, can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yes. Did you hear the whole story, Peter?
I did not.
Neither did I.
Oh, okay, cool. So here's what happened. We were in Vegas, and Elvis bought me a car. And he had offered to buy me a car the first night that I met him on our first date, and I said, no way. He offered to buy me he took out the big jewelry tray. There were three. He had a big black box, jewelry box that he took everywhere, and there were 3 trays in it. And after I first met him, he had the guys bring out the jewelry box, and he said, I want to give you a gift. And I said, no. He said, well, I saw the back of your car was dashed in, and I'd love to get you a car. I went, no. I said, we don't know each other. I said, we're not dating. I said, if something happens here and we end up dating or something, that's down the road. I said, but I can't accept a gift like that from you. So in 1976, he bought me a car. And I accepted it. And it was in the middle of the night in Vegas. And it was a really cool 455, 4-speed, Hurst clutch, white Trans Am, because that was his favorite color and my favorite color. He loved blue as well, but he really loved the color white. That was his favorite. Most of his jumpsuits were white, too. And so what happened is that we were supposed to leave the next day and go to Palm Springs. So he said, I'm going to have one of the guys drive the car to Palm Springs. He goes, we're going to take the plane to Lisa Marie, and we're going to fly into Palm Springs. And I'm not thinking, again, Elvis Presley boyfriend. I'm thinking boyfriend, Elvis, my boyfriend. So I looked at him, and I'm thinking not the plane. I'm not thinking of the entourage. I'm not thinking like this. So I said, Elvis, is there any chance we could drive the car to Palm Springs instead? I had no clue what I was asking, because here he is, they're loading up the plane, they're gassing up the plane, he's got the entourage ready to go, he's called the pilot, Milo High. It costs a fortune, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going, well, can't we just drive there? Not thinking of the entourage, not thinking of anybody else, just me and my boyfriend driving the car to Palm Springs.
Well, you just wanted to spend more time with him.
Well, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking this would be cool. We're driving, my new car. So he looks down at me and he goes, honey, let me think about that a minute. And he stood there literally thinking. And I'm And I said, yeah. And he goes, sure, honey, we can drive a car. And I thought, yay, yay. And I'm jumping up and down like, I'm some stupid kid of 10 years old. And he goes, I just got to fix a few things. And I said, okay. He goes, I'll be back. So I'm waiting, and he goes, and he tells Milo, hi, and the pilot and everybody, okay, pack everything on the plane. I need you guys in the back seat. Mindy and I are driving to Palm Springs. Now, as you go, we start driving in the car. Well, thank God, and I thank the Lord that we did not fly, because there was a huge storm brewing, okay? Now, I am scared to death to fly. There's another story where Dave Hebler had to literally carry me off the plane. I was catatonic in a corner. That's another story. So Elvis and I and Dave Stanley, and I forget who's in the back seat. I don't remember if it was Dave Hebler or Al Strada. I don't remember one of the other guys, but it was definitely David Stanley. We start driving to Palm Springs. Now, it's a good 4.5, 5-hour drive. And Elvis is loving the drive because there's no phone. Nobody can get a hold of him. Nobody can bother him. He loves the wide open spaces. And remember, Elvis loved to drive. He loved his toys. He loved driving around. Through the desert, it's very peaceful. It's, very prairie-like. All of that, all the stuff that he and I both like. So as we're beginning to leave, it's black in the sky. I mean, absolutely black. And I said, honey, you got to turn on the windshield wipers. He goes, oh, no, I don't need to turn on the windshield wipers. It's not going to rain on this car. I said, of course it's going to rain. Of course what an ego. Of course it's going to rain on this car. It's raining everywhere. So it's raining in front of us, to the left, to the right, to the back. Now, David Stanley swears up and down that there was a sunroof or a moonroof. I don't remember. And what happened is, Elvis says, and he totally believed that he could move clouds. He was very healing. He could put his hands on your stomach and heal you when you didn't feel well. He could put, he did what is called the laying of the hair. And he could do it. And so he takes his right arm, he's driving with his left, and he flails his right arm up and above, the car. And he goes, watch this. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And now the guys in the back seat going, and all of a sudden, the clouds on my mother's grave dispersed. Literally dispersed. It's as if Moses parts the Red Sea. Seriously. The clouds dispersed to the way in the front of us, to the sides of us, and the back of us. It is raining cats and dogs all around the car. It never put a drop of rain on the car to this day. Now, I did not know that David Stanley wrote that story in his book. So I was thrilled to death because I don't read the books. I've never read any of the Stanley books. I just don't read the books. I haven't read any of them. So I thought, well, thank God for Dave. And I remember calling Dave and going, thank God you told the story so these people don't think I'm just off my rocker.
Yeah. Oh, here comes on Mindy Miller again. Just shake your head.
That is exactly right, people. That is exactly right. Now, a couple of guys came on there and said, oh, this is such trash. And of course, I had to delete them because, everybody that comes, that's a friend of mine that loves Elvis, they're not my fans, they're Elvis's fans. I'm just speaking for him and through him and sharing with the fans. So I said, listen, this is a true story, people. I have no reason to lie about it. Now, what happens with this story is that during the time Elvis and I dated, he would always, as I said, tell me that he would come back and be in touch with the people that he loved and cared about. So now after his funeral, 1977, the car is maybe 8 months old, 9 months old at the most. I'm driving on a beautiful, clear, sunny day here in Los Angeles, and all of a sudden the windshield wipers go on. Now remember, I had begged him to turn the windshield wipers on, and he would not. Why? Because we're not So now I'm driving the car, and I said, oh, son of a bitch. I said, I got his windshield wipers off, because his favorite thing to say was, homo bitch, homo bitch. So now I'm saying, homo bitch, everything is ruined on the electrical. So now I go to turn off the electrical, well, it wasn't turned on. So I'm thinking, oh, great, there's a short, right? So I'm not taking the car to the Pontiac dealership in Westwood yet. So a couple of days go by, the windshield wipers are now going on and off, and it's a normal thing. And I'm thinking, criminy. And I'm thinking, okay, next week I have to go out of town. I'm going to take the car in. I'm going to have them go over the car with the fine-tooth comb and find out where the electrical shortage is. I come back into town. I go pick up the car. I said, where's the electrical short? They said, Miss Miller, we have gone over this car with a fine-tooth comb. There is no electrical short. Everything works perfectly. Nothing is wrong. I said, I'll be damned. Okay. I drive home. Nothing happens for a couple of days. During the week, as I'm home, the windshield wipers go on and off. I said, come on. Then the light bulb above the stupid brain cell here, the one brain cell I have, goes off. And I said, oh my God, it's Elvis. And I sat in the car. I pulled the car over. I was in shock. I started to sweat, and I said, Elvis, it's you, isn't it? Now, if anybody else would have seen me, we didn't have cell phones in those days, okay? And I'm talking away. I start the car, and I'm driving, and I'm talking away. And people are looking over at me like I'm absolutely off my rocker. But I'm talking to Elvis, okay? So I said to him, I remember now that you told me that you would give a sign of some kind. Now, it's got to be either some kind of a physical sign or a sign that will let you know that he is trying to get in touch with you. Now, there were a lot of things, and there are still other things, but this was the most physical thing that he could show me because he bought me the car. He was the first person to drive that car. It had his energy all in that car, all over that car when we got, after we got to Palm Springs. And the windshield wipers was the biggest thing because we're not going to need them, and I'm the one that kept saying, honey, please turn them on, please turn them on. And so now here he is. He's passed over.
He's a little late turning on the windshield wipers.
He's a little late turning on the windshield wipers. And I'm sitting there feeling like an idiot. And I said, I love you more than words could ever say. And I started crying.
Aww.
And I said, thank you from the bottom of my heart for telling me that you're okay, that you've passed over, that you're visiting everybody. And thank you for remembering me. Mm-hmm. And that was not the last time it happened. I eventually did sell the car. Unfortunately, I wish, of course, today I had it. The cars were very difficult to keep up for 40 or 50 years. You got to have the money and all that. That car itself was a fortune now, let alone an Elvis Presley car. Mm-hmm. But that story goes down in history for me. As I tell people, on my parents' grave, on his grave, this is a true story. I don't need to lie. I don't need to make things up. This is a true story. And I know that things have happened to other people that knew Elvis as well. We've talked, and he's visited a lot of people in his own way. But that was huge for me. Huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Do you know where that car is now, or do you have any idea what's happened to it?
I actually have the VIN number, and I called the DMV, and they told me that that car is owned by a man. It is being garaged, so it is not being driven, and I would like to find the car, very much so. Very much so.
Well, we're putting it out there for you now. You never know what could happen, so.
It would be a blessing of all time to have my car back, believe me.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
Yeah.
Now, you have a special connection as well to another song, Trouble. Can you tell everybody that story about the first night that you were with Elvis in that song?
Yes. Now, after we met, we started talking about so many things. We had so many things in common. We rode horses. We both loved Hawaii. We were both very, very spiritual people, both Christians, both loved the Bible, both loved the Lord. We both loved singing. Now, I am no Elvis Presley, would never profess to be Celine Dion or anybody, but I was in a group when I was in school. I sang in choir, I sang in glee clubs, all that. And I have a decent voice, but I'm nobody that's going to, shake your roof down or anything. And so one of the many things we did after he bought me the spiritual books that night and all that is he excused himself. He put on a karate exhibition for me with the guys in the house. And then he excused himself because his private time was really important to him. So he always would go to his bedroom. That was his private time. And people can think what they want, but for Elvis to take a lady to his bedroom did not mean what the average person might think it would mean. It was just his time to be able to get away from the guys and the house and the cooks and whoever was there, and that was his sanctuary. His bedroom was his sanctuary. So we would watch TV, we would watch movies, we would read, we would sing to each other, we would harmonize. So he invited me up to his bedroom, and the first thing he said to me was, "It's not what you think it is." And I said, "I'm not thinking anything, I'm not thinking anything." He said, "Well, it's not that, it's not what you think." He said, "It's my alone time, and it's my time to get to know you and be with just you alone." Because during the whole evening, we've been together with the rest of the mafia, all the guys. So he went up to his room, and he sat me on the edge of the bed, and he said, "Now, honey," he said, "sit there, I'm going to play something for you." He said, "I just finished recording this today." And I said, "Okay." And he had one of those big recording machines, that goes around with the tape on it.
Right.
That they're like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So he said, "This is my latest song." He says, "And I'm going to sing it for you." And I thought, sweet Jesus. Elvis Presley is going to sing just to me in his bedroom right now, right? So he gets up, he's standing in front of me in his sweats and his little white, tennis cap. And then he doesn't go into a whole dance. He doesn't go into being Elvis Presley. He's just Elvis the man, the private citizen now in his home, singing to a track. And he starts the track, and he goes, "Well, I was just a little bitty baby boy, blah, blah, blah." And he goes into the song. It's T-R-O-U-B-L-E, John, 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 John. And it was a rockin'est, swinging'est song, and it was like this country rock and roll song that later Travis Tritt did that I love.
Yeah.
And it became one of my favorite all-time Elvis songs. Not because he sang it to me or anything, but it was just, it was for me it's an incredible song. And then when we went on tour later, he sang it, but not a lot. And I think he only sang it that first year or that first few months when he went on tour. It was a really wordy song.
Yes.
And because it was wordy, he always was afraid he'd forget lyrics to things. And especially with new songs, he'd always, he was nervous. Even though he was Elvis Presley, every single show he was nervous. He would come out and he'd say, "Well, now, if I don't remember the song, ladies and gentlemen, just bear with me here." And he'd take the sides to the song, and usually he'd, like the first stanza or the first few chords or whatever, he'd sing it and then put the paper down. But Trouble was wordy. And then, during our little courtship, he would say things to me like, "Hey, Trouble," or he'd call me "Hey, Trouble," or "Hey, Eminem." And so the song became a song for me that had special meaning, And so it was the first song I ever heard him sing to me personally, privately. And then I realized how much he loved singing because he'd sing all the time. He sang in the car on the way to Palm Springs. He'd turn on the radio. He'd be singing all the way. You would think the man sang enough that he wouldn't want to sing. He was always singing or humming or tapping his foot. The man was just music. He loved music.
It's great. Well, I gotta tell everybody, because they probably heard a couple minutes ago, I have big skylights in my house, so when it starts raining, it gets very loud in here. So you might have heard it, Mindi. The rain started to fall, and all of a sudden it's silent again. I just want to point that out to everybody. I literally thought we were going to have to wrap up the interview because the rain was getting so loud, and it has stopped. So
thank you, Mindy.
Just saying.
No, thank you, Elvis. Thank you for stopping the rain or making it rain. But isn't that weird that it's raining during the time we're talking about this?
Yeah, it literally rained for you guys heard it. I know
Yeah.
you heard it, 30 seconds, and now it's silent again.
It so does not surprise me. It so does not surprise me.
Unbelievable.
He let everybody know he's here, he's listening, he's gotcha.
Now I have chills. Okay, so I wanted to wrap up the interview, Mindy, by giving you a chance to talk about your YouTube channel and all the things that you are up to now, because there's so much more to Mindy Miller, and we want to be able to post all that on the blog. And you guys, I want to let you know too, before we go into all this, I will be putting in the blog post how you can get Mindy's DVD. So if you weren't able to write all that information down, it's okay. I will put it up on the blog post, tcbradionetwork.com. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in live. But with that, Mindy, will you go into we'll wrap it up with talking about your YouTube channel and what you're up to now.
Well, what happened is I started a YouTube channel, and it was basically called Your Best Skincare Aesthetics, which is the name of my company. And I, do facials and makeup and microdermabrasion and massage and reflexology and Reiki and therapy and all kinds of things, and anti-aging for men and women. So I'm all about eating right and eating 80% alkaline diet, drinking alkaline water, because you want your body to be balanced. You always want your body to be balanced between 7.5 and 9.5. And if it isn't, that's when you're going to start getting diseases. And I remember one of the things he taught me so many things, but one of the things he always liked to look for, he loves to look for words within words. So if he'd say, honey, do you realize that? He'd say, now listen to that word, realize. And I'd say, okay. He goes, what are the words within that word? And I didn't get it. And he'd say, real eyes. You're seeing things with real eyes. Therefore, you are realizing something. Okay, that makes total logical sense to me. The word disease. Dis-ease. Your body is at dis-ease with itself. Disease. Because most of cancers and most of the debilitating diseases that we have start in the colon, and then they metastasize and filter out into the organs of your body. People are not aware of colon therapy. They're going to boo-ha-ha, they're going to talk about it, they're going to go, I'm not going there, I'm not doing that. But I tell people, especially men, they're just, I get it, but I've been doing this for over 35 years, and I am never sick. I keep a size 4. I have so much energy. I'm up night and day. But because I'm constantly internally cleansing, it doesn't give my body or my internal organs a chance to get sick. I don't take a drug. I don't take an aspirin. I take nothing. I am so much younger internally. And I thought that it would be this way when I started. And now 35 some odd years later, and people look at my picture and they go, there's no way you're almost 70 years old. And I'm like, there is no way I'm almost 70. I'm 67, and I don't feel like it. I feel like I'm 35 years old. And I tell people, if you would just try and follow my lead, I promise you that this works. And I am the one that's the guinea pig, because I've done it on myself. I eat a certain way. I don't eat after 7. I'm not saying I don't eat chocolate. I'm not saying I don't cheat. And I do.
Well, you're human. That's good to know.
But I get back on my program. And people, they always, they invite me, we'll barbecue. Well, I don't eat barbecue, because anytime you burn food, it's carcinogenic, and it causes cancer cells to metastasize or build on each other. The worst thing you can eat, I know you're not going to want to hear me say this, is burnt food, blackened food, and I love blackened salmon. I love soul food. I love the kind of food that you get in New Orleans, blackened this. Well, I love it. But it's carcinogenic. And you're burning the food content. You're burning the minerals, the vitamins, the enzymes, and everything out of the food. So by the time you're eating this dead, you're eating dead carcass anyway from an animal, which is meat. Then you're burning it. And then you're wondering why your body can't assimilate. It takes 18 hours for your system to literally break down a steak. And the worst meat you can eat is the cow, because the cow does nothing but stand. If you're going to eat meat, the reason the American Indian ate meat was the bison, because the bison ran. So the difference is, if you sit in front of your TV all day and do nothing, look what happens to your body. But if you get out and you run or you jog or you walk, look how different that person's body is from the person that does absolutely nothing and sits there. That's the difference in the bison and the cow. So Jack LaLanne always said, eat nothing white, which means no white bread, no white sugar, brown sugar if you have to have it, no white rice, brown rice, nothing from the cow, not cow milk. You can drink almond juice, which they call almond milk, but almond is really, it's a juice. Coconut juice, not coconut milk. And I talk about this on my YouTube show because I want to help people be the best that they can be. I want them to be healthy. I want them to be young. I want them to live as long as they can. Enjoy your job. Enjoy your retirement. Enjoy your kids, your grandkids. And there's no reason we shouldn't be living well into our 90s and 100s. But it's all the crap that we're ingesting. It's the air we're breathing. It's the stuff we buy with all the, all the sprays on it. Always buy organic if you can. Stay out of the sun. The sun is not your friend. The sun is your enemy. I talk about this just on my first few YouTube shows. So I need to do more shows. And, people can find me on YouTube. You can ask questions there. I answer everybody. Some of my Elvis interviews are there as well. And I need to do more, but I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about health and anti-aging. And again, our generation doesn't need to be sick. We don't need to be living on pills and being diabetic. It's all about food. If you can turn your diet around and start eating what we call a raw diet, which means salads, foods that aren't cooked. You should not be cooking foods over 160 degrees because you're cooking everything out of it. But if you're eating your raw food, which is your salad, your raw fruits, don't eat your vegetables and your fruits together. They should never be mixed. I've literally gone to schools and camps where they teach you how to eat, what to eat, food combinations, and I can honestly say this to people. You can turn diabetes around. You can turn cancer around. The problem, and I tell people this that have cancer, is if you're, God forbid, in the third or fourth stages of cancer, it can be turned around. But what's happening is cancer is big business, and they make a lot of money. This country makes a lot of money off cancer and drugs. We know that. So what I tell people is you've got to change your way of eating immediately. No alcohol, no smoking, no ingesting certain things. But the doctors will put you through chemotherapy. And what they're doing is they're literally burning your insides out. And they're not replacing it with anything because they don't know. Medical doctors are trained to cut, suture, and prescribe drugs. And they are tested very heavily on drug content. And they also make a lot of money when the pharmaceutical companies come to them and say, well, let's try this. Try this on your patient. Well, your patient is paying you. And they're the guinea pig. And they don't realize they're the guinea pig. Then you'll see all these commercials on TV that say, we have a new drug out. Now, if you're one of these people, we'd love you to call us at our 800 number, and for free, we're going to give you this drug to try. You don't know what it's doing to you. They don't know what it's doing to you. They're using you, the public person, as their guinea pig, and you're going for it. The worst thing you should ever be doing is taking a drug, because it's all synthetic. And I tell people, try a holistic doctor. Try and do things the natural way. You are what you eat. If you're not eating all this garbage and your body's not ingesting it, how the heck are your cancer cells going to grow and metastasize?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much for sharing all that. We appreciate it very much. And we will definitely put links to the YouTube channel so people can dive in deeper and learn more about your thoughts and philosophies on health and nutrition, all that stuff. We have some great people commenting. So when you have time, Mindy, you'll have to go back and look at some of these comments. Unfortunately, I got to wrap up the show before the rain comes back. But we want to thank you so much for being with us and this wonderful in-depth interview about yourself and your time with Elvis. We appreciate it and love.
And I've got a ton more questions, but
yeah, we have to do this again really soon, Mindy. We'll put you back on the schedule when you have time.
We haven't even covered a quarter of some great stories.
Yeah, we got it. We got to get it out there. So we'll definitely do this again really soon.
We'd also like to thank Lee Douglas of Old Time Rock and Roll, always found at www.oldtimernr.com, for converting our show to iTunes. We appreciate you, Lee. Be sure to check out Lee's fantastic site and listen to his weekly shows, all oldies music with no commercials. TCB Radio Network is strictly a fan publication, not affiliated in any way with Elvis Presley Enterprises or any of its affiliates or subsidiaries. Please visit us online at tcbradionetwork.com. All trademarks, product names, company names, and logos mentioned are the properties of their respective owners. All opinions stated within do not necessarily reflect the opinions of anyone else, and certainly not Elvis Presley Enterprises.
Still the King, our theme song for TCB Radio Network podcast, was written by Shane Douglas, produced by Terry Fullwider at Blue Spot Studios, and performed by Peter Alden and his band Crown Electric Company, featuring David Fontana, son of Elvis Presley's original drummer DJ Fontana, on drums.
And Elvis Presley is still the king. Well, he's still the king. That's all right. Man, he sure could sing. That's all right. Still the